We dove off the rock in order of craziness, with the craziest going first, which meant that MLM went first, then Mitt, then me, Schnuels, and then presumably Sneed. It was 1976, and the four of us were teenagers at St. Paul's School, an Episcopal boarding school in Concord, New Hampshire, on 2,000 rolling acres, the centerpiece of which was a beautiful body of water called Turkey Pond that we skied on, skated on, partied on, swam in, and ran around. Today, a beautiful spring day, the four of us were walking around Turkey Pond. MLM stood for Michael Lemoyne, MLM. But his last name was Kennedy, and he was the sixth of 11 children of Robert F. Kennedy Jr. and Ethel Kennedy. He looked like his dad. He had the eyes and the teeth, but he was rail thin and he had long brown hair. He looked like a wild buck. MLM was more Sneed's friend than mine. MLM and Sneed were 2 days away from graduation. I was a year and 2 days away from graduation. And Mitt was 2 years removed, which meant that Mitt and I were kind of hanging on to the coattails of joy of MLM and Sneed. Sneed and Mitt and I all lived in Manville House, a brick kind of a Harry Potter-like building down by the gym. And MLM lived in Center Upper, which was by the dining hall where the cool people lived, and where I wanted to live next year. At the gym and at the dining hall, there were plaques all over the walls celebrating various levels of achievement. And there was one plaque that I wanted. I wanted the school record in the 2-mile in track. But Mitt had accidentally broken my collarbone in a wheelbarrow race the year before. And this year, my junior year track season was not going too well, so I was discouraged. It seemed like if you were going to get remembered at St. Paul's School, you would achieve something and maybe get a plaque on the wall, or get remembered by doing something crazy. Which brings us back to MLM. You had to say his name like this, MLM, as a testament to his bravado and his fearlessness, qualities I dearly wanted in myself. MLM kind of talked in an almost clipped military way. He saw the rock and he went, "This rock is meant to be jumped off of." And before I knew it, and without even thinking, he ran, he dove, and he cleared the land, which was about 4 feet away from the water, and came up smiling, his hair everywhere, looking like a happy water rat. And he looked at Mitt and went, "Who's next? Mitt?" I guess the pecking order of craziness was already established. Mitt was my best friend of the four of us. He was short and powerful like a hockey player, and he had long brown hair. We all had long hair. He had bedroom eyes and a soft, cooing voice. He was the first guy I had known in St. Paul's to get laid. And it was with Polly Pittman, who was in 11th grade. So Mitt knew things. But he was dangerous. He was also fearless, and that is what I wanted to be. Mitt scrambled onto the rock, and he took a running leap too, but he slipped as he was running. And he pushed himself off at the last minute and barely cleared the land. He came up looking a little bit pale, but he was smiling and his teeth were flashing, and he looked at me and he said, "Schnuels, you're next." It's possible that Mitt was the devil. But I was next because Sneed was backing away from the rock, giggling to himself. Sneed stood for Dean Kasperzak, an unfortunate name for a kid with a lisp. "Schnuels, have you heard the Grateful Dead song Uncle John's Band? It's blissful." I loved Sneed. He was joy personified, but he was not going to jump off the rock. And I wanted to be in the group that jumped, the fearless group, the group that we remembered and talked about. I got up on the rock, I looked at the cold, dark waters of Turkey Pond, and I took my biggest running leap. As soon as I hit the air, I knew I was going to clear the land. It was a beautiful feeling. I was high above all my fears. Harvard applications, what I would have to do to get Betsy Armstrong to pay attention to me, high above my impossible need to be liked by everybody. It was all below me. This was the reward of fearlessness. freedom. Which is why it was an even greater betrayal when my left thumb, my right shoulder, and my right arm all hit the submerged rock at the same time. I came up and my thumb was hanging off at a strange angle, flesh peeling off of it. My right arm had a deep gash in it, and the water around me was turning red with blood. Mitt and Sneed were just looking at me, frozen in horror. But Emlem sprang into action. He tore his T-shirt into tourniquets, and he wrapped my thumb and my arm, all the while saying softly, "Poor Schnools. Poor Schnools." And then he looked at Mitt, and he barked, "Mitt, are you going to get over here and help me, or are you just going to let your friend Schnools bleed to death?" Emlem led us back to the boathouse where there were grown-ups and a car and an emergency room. My thumb was badly broken, but it's fine today, except for it crunches when I move it. But I'm fine, and I'm grateful. Moving backward through the hierarchy of craziness, Sneed and I lost touch after St. Paul's, but the magic of Facebook brought us back together, and he seems happy. He has 2 beautiful daughters, Susan and Elizabeth Kasperzak. Me, well, I don't... I want to be liked by everybody, but I don't need to be anymore. Working with 9th graders has proven the futility of that. And when I see a body of water, I just kind of gently ease my way in from the shallow end to the deep end. I don't care how it looks. Mitt is still my friend. I saw him at Jazz Fest. He might not be the devil. He might be Satan light now, except for when he drinks and he breaks guitars that don't belong to him. Michael Lemoyne Kennedy died at the age of 39 in 1997, playing touch football on skis with members of his family. And that is what Wikipedia will remember him for. But I will remember Emlem as the friend who was more Sneed's friend than mine, that I never really got to know, but who on a really bad day for me made it a whole lot better by doing something that came naturally and instinctively to him, reaching out his hand in the simple act of kindness. Emlem!